Hello and welcome to Recipe Recreation, the show that shows you, yes you, at home, on the internet right now, how to make your favorite commercially produced foods right in your very own kitchen. I'm John.
And I'm Jan, and today we're making homemade Snickers bars, teaching you all the techniques you need to know to make the candy confection right at home.
Recipe Recreation.
Starting from the bottom of the Snickers bar, we have a layer of chocolate, followed by a layer of nougat, and then a layer of caramel and nuts, and then a top layer of chocolate.
Exactly.
This looks really good. I can't wait to make our own. I am excited and hungry.
And the way you're saying it sounds sincere. So we're going to be assembling our candy bars in this non-stick 9x13 pan, perfect for popping them out easy at the end.
Oh, very nice.
But at the bottom, we want to have that first layer of chocolate.
What we're doing here is actually making a makeshift double boiler. So we have a pot of water here, the water's simmering. We're using the steam mixed with the air to actually heat our bowl.
So go ahead and melt the full 1.5 cups of chocolate. You do not want to let it get too hot. And if you start seeing, this thing getting really hot too fast, take it off the boil in water.
Slow down.
Yeah. While he's doing that, I'm going to grease the pan. We want to make the removal process as easy as possible. So I'm just going to use about a 1/2 tablespoon of butter here, drop it into the pan, and then just rub it all around the pan.
Our chocolate here is nice and smoothly melted.
That looks so good, John.
Okay.
Just eat it right there.
All right, hold on. We're not there yet, buddy.
Sorry. You want to move kind of fast, okay? So you just want to pour it into the pan. And this will be the foundation for the entire confection. You can see that it's already starting to harden, but boy, does it look good.
I'm the guy who holds the spoon.
Nougat is a pillowy confection made out of sugar, egg whites, and nuts. And what it is when you whip up those eggs and you mix it with the sugar, throw in a little fire, you create this very sort of spongy candy. And it's
throwing in fire.
Oh yeah, you throw in a little fire,
Very nice. So we have 1/2 stick of butter, 1 cup of granulated sugar, 1/4 cup of evaporated milk, but somehow it's still here in the container, although it all evaporated. I don't get this cooking stuff. We have 1.5 cups of peanuts, 2 tablespoons of your choice of peanut butter. We're also going to add some vanilla extract, and then of course we have this science experiment from 5th grade, some sort of baking soda volcano.
1.5 cups of marshmallow cream.
Okay.
So to get started over medium heat, we're going to melt the butter, all right? Just put the whole 1/2 stick, the whole 1/2 stick, that's a great way to say it. And just kind of have that melted over medium heat. Once the butter's melted, you're going to dissolve in the sugar and add in the milk. Just want to stir it with a wooden spoon, make sure everything gets nicely combined. Once you have the sugar, milk, and butter dissolved in the pot, you want to bring it to a small boil and let it cook down for about 5 minutes.
All right, so let's go ahead and chop these peanuts while keeping all my fingers attached to my hand.
A couple of things to keep in mind when you're making the nougat. You'll notice that it kind of doubles in size because of the bubbles, so make sure your pot is deep enough. And while it's boiling, make sure you keep stirring it gently so that it doesn't stick to the bottom and burn.
I'm about finished coarsely chopping up these nuts. We don't want to make them too finely chopped. We're not making peanut butter. We actually want to have chunks of nuts in our Snickers bars.
And if you don't like nuts, or if you just prefer to eat Milky Way bars, just leave the nuts out of the recipe and you still have a really good candy bar. So now that the nougat's been cooking for about 5 minutes, it's time to add the marshmallow cream. And John, if you could add 2 tablespoons of peanut butter,
sure thing.
Now is the time. Nope, the marshmallow cream starts to melt with the nougat mixture and it creates a really, really fluffy candy. We're gonna put a big tablespoon of vanilla extract as well. Okay, it's gonna steam a little bit, so watch out, but just mix it nicely, and at this point you can take it right off the heat. Move this out of the way. So we gotta move kind of fast here, so John, if you could just give me the peanuts right into this pot. They're gonna go all over the table. This is a great recipe for the whole family. The kids can have fun picking up the peanuts off the floor. This nougat just really flows right out. It barely sticks. And by barely sticks, I mean it sticks. You're dealing with hot and cold here, so you want to take your rubber spatula and spread it around evenly. And that is the nougat layer. So at this point, when it's nice and flat, you can put it aside to set. You don't have to put it in the freezer because this nougat sets nicely at room temperature.
We have 1 stick of butter, 7 ounces of sweetened condensed milk, half a cup of light corn syrup, and a cup and 2/8 of light brown sugar.
Now, before we get started, there's one critical step that we need to do to make sure the caramel sauce comes out exactly how we want it. We know the exact temperature window we want to get to, and that is 230 to 233 degrees. Okay. And they call that the thread stage. And you can remember that because you know when you bite into the Snickers and you get that thread of caramel sometimes? Right. That's exactly where we want to get that. Different thermometers, you know, they have slight variances in their readings. So what I do is I boil water, I know it's going to be 212, and I see what the thermometer gives us. It actually looks like our thermometer is about 4 degrees off. It's 4 degrees lower than it should be. So going forward, we're gonna have to add 4 degrees to all of our readings, okay? Okay. To make sure that we get into that 230 to 233 window.
All right, so to make sure our butter melts evenly in the pot, we're gonna take our 1 stick of butter and actually chop it up into 8 tablespoon-sized pieces.
Over very low heat, we're gonna melt the butter. The butter's nice and melted here. So I'm gonna carefully put the sugar into the butter. And don't add it all at once, okay? You can sort of add about a third of it, mix it around in the butter, make sure it gets nice and dissolved. Now, still over medium-low heat, it's time to add half the can, or 7 ounces, of sweetened condensed milk. Add half a cup of light corn syrup. Stir it, not vigorously, but enough to get everything combined evenly. And at this point, you wanna bring it to a light boil. Gradually turn the heat up over a few minutes. If you go too fast, you're gonna shock the candy, and that's never good.
Oh, doesn't
Candy making is a very, very delicate process, which is why Willy Wonka was so dainty. I don't know what it's.
That wasn't funny at
No,
all.
it wasn't. As soon as you see the caramel starting to bubble, and it's gonna go pretty fast, you want to put the thermometer in. If you could just keep stirring that for me. And we're going to bring the heat back down to medium and let it boil until we get to 230 degrees. So it took us about 15 minutes to get up to temperature. We are just about there, so I'm going to take it off the heat. John's going to carefully add about half a tablespoon of vanilla. Just evenly blend in the vanilla extract, and then once it is nice and smooth, you are ready to pour it right onto the layer. Gently push it to the corners, give it a little shake, and that'll set up nicely in about 5 to 10 minutes. All right, so for the final layer of the Snickers bar, we're gonna cover it up with a nice shiny layer of chocolate. And while he's doing that, I'm gonna add a heaping spoon of peanut butter. That went everywhere, but that's okay. Kids can also eat the peanut butter off the floor. All right, quick, off the heat. So it's nice and smooth, everything's combined, and we're ready to pour it onto the caramel layer. Push that chocolate to every single edge of the pan. This will set at room temperature, but if you're really hungry and you want this done faster, throw it in the freezer. We'll have Snickers in no time. By filling this tray, any kind of tray, you can use a half sheet pan, with some warm water, you can actually use it to sort of melt the bottom so it's a lot easier to take out of the pan. That's enough. Okay, be careful with the water. Splish splash, bada blash. Let's cut these up. Make sure your knife goes all the way through to the bottom. You want to cut through all those layers. Now you can cut these however you want. Some people like them in brownie sizes. You know, I personally like to cut them into candy bars. They just slide right out. You can put them onto a plate. That's good. Well done, my man. This is really good.
Tastes better than the real thing.
Is that eat it? Great.
Oh, shut up. Did you make that nougat yourself? Is that real life?
Yep.
That was delicious.
I like that it tastes like a Snickers bar.
Oh, it's very interesting.
It's good.
It definitely has the same kind of flavor combination as the other.
I feel like the nougat and the caramel blend really nicely.
It's delicious.
Oh, it's nice and chilled.
Well, it's a little soft. The chocolate's kind of melting on my head.
It's got like a good consistency.
Not as chewy, which I like. It's thicker too, which is weird. I mean, there's obviously more peanut product in here than your average Snickers bar.
It's very natural. I love the nougat.
It doesn't taste any different than something that's probably really bad for you.
You feel a lot more of like the anti-chocolate stuff and a lot more of like the mysterious goodness that you just like look at it and you can't figure out what the hell it is in the actual one.
It's chewing and yummy.
Yeah, it's delicious.
Quite tasty.
This is like, can I have another one?
Well, now you know how to make your own Snickers candy bars from scratch, and we hope you'll take this recipe and try it out yourself.
But before you do, you're already on your computer or mobile device, so why don't you go ahead and like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, visit our website, and if you have something you want to see us try to recreate on the show, send it our way. We'll see what we can do.
Thanks for watching. I'm Jan.
I'm John. Go make some Snickers.